What's up, guys? Ryan MacCarthy here with LowKick MMA. Joined by me today, coming off his first ever UFC win, John Castaneda. Congrats on the win this past weekend. How's it going? I'm sure you're on
It's
cloud
going,
nine.
yeah, man, it's going well, man. Yeah, absolutely. The first win in the UFC, like you were saying, against a tough vet, so it's definitely a little surreal still. But we're right back to training and ready to get back in there. So
Yeah, yeah, and take us through the W. I mean, it was a first round knockout. Kind of towards the end of the round. I think there was only like 15, 20 seconds left. So, it was a pretty chaotic fight. So, take us through how the finish happened. Was this something you were expecting, a first round knockout? Was that what you were going for? What was kind of the game plan going in? And then, of course, the fight itself. Did it go the way you guys thought it would?
yeah, no, absolutely. I think that going into the fight, our main focus was just outside movement and really kind of getting that lead leg in front of his lead leg. I mean, when you have a southpaw versus an orthodox fight, that's one of the main things is getting that outside positioning there. And he was really doing a good job of cutting that angle off. So I was actually circling into his power for a majority of the fight, which was okay. We were training for that, but um, the main focus was just a lot of movement and picking my shots. And I knew that I know that I hold power in my shots, but I didn't know that I was going to stun him that bad, and it all happened so quick. But a little bit of talk through it is I got tagged pretty early in that fight. I want to say maybe like a minute and a half, 2 minutes in, and it kind of made me rethink my strategy a little bit, but he did give me time. He gave me time to almost like rethink it right then and there in that round. And I started picking up a little bit of momentum, a little bit of more confidence with my movement. And I was seeing a little bit more openings on him. And, I switched, I threw an inside leg kick from my southpaw stance and I switched to my orthodox stance. And that's when I was able to switch over to the right side, come back over to the left with that straight right. And I saw it out of my peripherals that he got kind of stunned him a little bit, right? I saw a little wobble in his step. And at that point, everything goes out the window. You know that you hurt him. So I was able to just kind of track him down and pick my shots and finish the fight. Obviously, so it was definitely a memorable one.
Yeah. And kind of going off that, I mean, your opponent Eddie Wineland, he's no slouch. He's super dangerous. He's been around the game for what seems like forever. I think that was his 40th MMA fight.
Yeah,
So compared to you, definitely, he's been around a lot longer. I mean, you're at 18-5, so it's not like you're a rookie. But
right.
compared to Eddie Wineland, definitely a big difference in terms of experience. So, going into the fight, does that play a factor, knowing how he's kind of a big name. He's been around for such a long time that most people do know who he is. At least the hardcore fans do. So
Yeah.
what's it like knocking him out and for your first UFC win too in spectacular fashion?
It's on it. Honestly, just fighting Eddie Wineland in itself is surreal enough. You know what I mean? But let alone getting a finish against him in the first round, it's pretty surreal. Growing up, I was watching Eddie. He's been in the UFC since I want to say like 2010 or right around then. So that's when I first started really focusing on training mixed martial arts. And so growing up, I was able to watch Eddie Wineland in the WEC as he held the title, and then switch over to the UFC and be a title contender basically his whole career. You know what I mean? He's fought for the title and he's always been a top contender. So even when I got offered the fight to fight Eddie Wineland, it was pretty surreal and a really good feeling, that my management was able to trust me with something like that. Obviously with the first fight, my debut, that's just a last minute fill in, right? You get the opportunity, you either say yes or no. And obviously I'm going to say yes against a top guy like Nathaniel Wood off 2 weeks notice. But, to be able to come back off of a tough opponent like that and fight another top opponent like Eddie Wineland, honestly, it speaks volumes of not only my management, but the UFC too, that they saw what I could do against top level guys and they gave me another top level guy. And it was pretty surreal knocking him out. So it's definitely my biggest win, but hands down. Like you were saying, he's a pretty household name to if you're a hardcore MMA fan, you know who Eddie Wineland is,
Yeah.
so it was a good win for me. And, we're just only up from here.
Yeah, for sure. And is getting that first UFC win, kind of a relief, something you can check off on the bucket list and kind of go forward?
Absolutely, man. Especially with like your first contract. So like your first contract in the UFC, um, the most, I guess, like toughest thing you could do is start off with 0-2, right? It's one thing losing your debut, but going 0-2 is pretty rough. You know what I mean? It's a lot mentally. It's probably not the best thing for you. So, there was always that wonder, and that there was a thought in my mind, like, man, do I really belong with these guys in the UFC? Do I really belong in the best promotion against the best fighters? And I think I was able to prove that to myself, that I do belong here. And, it was a big confidence boost for me. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, starting 0-2 versus 1-1 is huge. It's a
Night and
huge
day.
difference, and
Absolutely.
I think anyone would agree with that. And kind of going off that, I mean, you're in a tough bantamweight division, man. I mean, arguably the best in the whole sport, in my opinion. So, what's next for you? What does the ideal 2021 look like for you, John?
Yeah, ideally, if it were up to me completely, I want to have a busy year. I want to fight at least another 2-3 times this year. Um, I have no injuries post fight, so that's I got really lucky there. No injuries, so we're just we're hoping to just stay in shape and keep our weight down, and whether it be a last minute opportunity or another 6 to 8 week camp, whatever it might be, we're ready for it. But if it were up to me, I'd like to get in there anytime from April to May, if it were up to me.
Awesome. Cool. And yeah, I mean, and then I wanted to get your prediction because you are in the bantamweight division. So
Yeah,
how do you see Pierre Jan versus Aljamain Sterling going in the next, I think that's, in the next few weeks, it's going to be
that's
going
coming up
down.
here. Yeah,
So
that fight's coming up here. Honestly, I see Peter Yan. His striking is honestly devastating, but honestly, I think the relentlessness of Aljamain Sterling and his wrestling is really gonna out edge Peter Yan. I don't think Peter Yan has fought as high of a level grappler and wrestler as Aljamain Sterling. So, I just keep thinking back to what Aljamain did to other top bantamweight prospects, and he's relentless with his wrestling, and I think that's exactly what's gonna give him the edge against Peter Yan.
yeah, for sure. And I actually meant to ask what any specific cheat meals you get after a big W like you did on Saturday? Any drinks? Any specific foods you go after?
Honestly, the thing that I attacked first was just some pasta and some pizza. Honestly, it's the carbs for me. So
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine how good it tastes after a W like that. So,
yeah, exactly, man. So
um,
but obviously the main focus is staying low in weight and staying
yep.
healthy. So we're healthy, so we just got to keep trucking along with our diet. We got a couple days to splurge a little bit on food, but no, we're right back to it.
Cool, man. And then I wanted to see where did you get the nickname Sexy Mexi? Because that's a phenomenal nickname, man. And I wasn't too sure where that originated from.
Yeah. So in college, I went to Minnesota State University in Mankato, just a little small Division II school here in Minnesota. Freshman year, you heard of the phrase freshman 15, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you gain a little bit of weight. My freshman year, I want to say that I gained like 35 to 40 pounds. So
Wow.
I was a little husky. Yeah. And then I started training at this gym called the Mankato MMA Club. It was actually part of the college, the university. It was just like a small little group of guys training. And I started training with them. And my head coach at the time, Ray White, he noticed that I was just losing a significant amount of weight after I, of course, had gained that freshman 40, so he noticed that I was losing all this weight. I was getting a little bit more lean, and he was like, John, you're looking sexy. You're looking like a little sexy Mexi. And then ever since then, it just kind of stuck.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And yeah, I mean, kind of want to just ask a couple fun questions here, get your prediction on a couple things as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um, we're doing a here at Low Kick, we're doing predictions for I want to get your thoughts too on the YouTube boxing. Of course, that's a pretty hot topic in the MMA/boxing world. It seems pretty
Yeah.
50-50. From people I've talked to, it seems pretty 50-50 down the middle. People saying, let them get their money, whatever. And then, some people think it's a disgrace to the sport of boxing. So what are your thoughts on, you got Jake Paul, Ben Askren, you got Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather in those kind of fights?
Yeah, to be honest, like I think a lot of those things there's obviously going to be people who judge people like that, but I think it's honestly wherever you can make your money, make your money. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different avenues nowadays to make some good money. And I don't blame them. I think that if anybody had the opportunity to make money, that kind of money with, whatever they're doing, they're going to do it, as long as it fits with their criteria or whatever it is. These guys are YouTube stars and now they're boxing and they're getting paid millions of dollars for it. Like more power to them. You know what I mean? Like it's not affecting me at all. It's only bringing more publicity to combat sports in general. So it's, if anything, it's benefiting all of us, all of us in the MMA community and the boxing community. And, maybe some people might have a negative outlook, like it's a joke and, we're not taking it serious, but overall, I think a lot of these guys are just superstars and they're bringing publicity to combat sports. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. And what's your official prediction on Ben Askren, Jake Paul? It seems it's pretty 50-50 for that as well. So we're asking everyone that for that.
I wish I had more stand-up video of Ben Askren to go off of. But here's the thing. I'll tell you this. I wholeheartedly wish Ben Askren wins, because if he doesn't, I can't imagine him making a comeback from that mentally. You know what I mean? You lost. You were a UFC and one FC or one championship fighting, superstar, mixed martial artist. And you're losing to some guy who, like you said, is a YouTube superstar. So I would hope that he could pull off the win. But other than that, I got nothing else for you.
Dude, it's going to be insane. It's pretty 50-50. Everyone I've asked, I've had people say Jake Paul's going to kill him, and I've had people say Ben Askren going to kill him. So
I do see Ben Askren working his little butt off though. He's been training, I follow him on social media. He's been putting in the work. So I bet he's focusing more on his stand up right now than he's ever in his life. So I hope it pays off.
Yeah, me as well. I think it would look a little bad for the MMA world if he loses.
Absolutely.
But whatever. Yeah. And then I wanted to see what kind of got you into fighting. Was there a specific fight that you saw that was like, wow, I want to do that. I want to be in the UFC. From back in the day.
To be honest, the biggest thing that just got me into MMA is just the thrill of one-on-one sport. Like I grew up wrestling, and I always looked at wrestling like a really big personal win. You know what I mean? Like when you win a match in wrestling, it's not because ultimately, you were training with a lot of people and you're getting coached by people, but there's no defense to save you at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like there's no cornerbacks, there's no like defensive line, you know what I mean? If you make a mistake. So everything that you do in like a wrestling match, like if you win that match, you won that match. You know what I mean? Like you personally did all the right things to win that match. And that in itself is like a really rewarding feeling. And it kind of just transfers over to MMA. You know what I mean? The one-on-one sport, you're kind of going to get out of the sport what you put in. So, this, like, even just for instance, this win against Eddie Wineland, like, yes, I have teammates, and I have great coaches and stuff like that, but ultimately they're not in there with me. You know what I mean? I'm in there by myself. So this win is just super special because it was me. I'm the one who finished Eddie Wineland. You know what I mean? But obviously, like I said, that comes with preparation from other people, but it's just, it's really big, like a really big rush, you know what I mean, for the one-on-one combat sport. And that's what I'm all about. I'm an adrenaline junkie for sure.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all it from my end here. Is there anything you want to plug? Anyone you want to shout out before we head out here?
No, brother. I appreciate you for having me on the show. Obviously just want to thank my training partners and all the coaches at the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, and then my management team with Iridium Sports Agency, and then the UFC. I can't wait to get back in there and do my thing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us here. Definitely look forward to speaking to you again, hopefully in the next few months for your second fight or your next fight. Awesome. And congrats again, man. First UFC win. I'm sure that's something that will stick with you forever. And congrats again, man. And in a stacked bantamweight division, this is a name to look out for. You're only 29 years old in your prime, so
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
We'll give you a shout out on everything. We'll get your name out there, and I look forward to speaking to you again, man.
Awesome, brother. Let's do it again. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. John Castaneda, ladies and gentlemen.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.